What does it take if you're trying to sound more natural in a second language? I know, for instance, when I was in Italy, what would happen a lot. I was studying Italian, and people would come up to me and be like, "Jeff, like your grammar's good, your vocab's good," but people would make comments about the accent, and then you'd say, "Well, what sounds off?" And people wouldn't ever be able to point out examples, like what was actually I doing wrong for a long time. I don't want that to happen to you. And maybe unfortunately, you've already had that experience. You ask people, "Hey, like, what am I doing differently?" And they're just like, something sounds different, something sounds weird, something sounds off," but they don't actually ever explain why. Well, today I want to try to help you understand some of the reasons why. We have two audio files that I'm going to be reviewing with you, as always, here at the Schwa Mill. Welcome to the Schwa Mill, guys. This is your American English pronunciation review show. We're here 3 times a week: Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesday, and not Wednesdays, Fridays. Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, right around 7 a.m. New York, to give you some knowledge about and some feedback about what's going on with your pronunciation. And to guide you in this process, there's me. Hi, my name's Jeff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the 4 keys to a natural sound in American English, by the way. And placement, pitch, breath, trying to weaken your consonant sounds in order to strengthen your vowel sounds. And so today we got 2 more files that we're going to be looking at. Thanks to everyone who's been sending us files. If you would like to send us files, you can actually do that as well. What you need to do is go over to the video description, or in the comments, you're going to see a link to a free group on Telegram. That's where everyone sends the files and things like that. And it would be great if you joined us there too, to send in your files for the chance to get selected for a stream. Let's listen to our very first file for today.
Hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death, so you better make sure that you come out alive.
Okay, and thanks as always to everyone who's been sending audio files in the group. Again, it's hard to have a pronunciation review show if there's nothing to review. So thanks to everyone who's been doing that. Let's listen to this again and give some feedback.
Hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death, so you better make sure that you come out alive.
Okay, there's a section here that I think kind of starts slurring together a little bit. So I'd like to hear it again.
Hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death, so you better make sure that you come out alive.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is like the bottom tree is not responsible for your death. So you better make sure that you come out alive. That's what I'm hearing.
Hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death, so you better make sure that you come out alive.
Okay, and I had a question as well regarding this file that says, "Do you think placement is the biggest problem with this audio file?" I don't think it's actually placement. Um, however, what are the things that are happening here?
Hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death, so you better make sure that you come out alive.
I think that my biggest thing that I would probably start with is actually probably pitch. What I'm seeing is that all the thought groups, there is pitch variation inside the thought group, which is great. What's up to Emmanuel hanging out with us? But the thing that is different is, or the thing that kind of they keep returning to, is they keep returning to like the same baseline a lot. So there's moments where the pitch goes high, but then we always kind of fall back, and I'll try to identify what that pitch is.
Hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death.
It's like, hey, bottom, not like it all kind of keeps falling back to around that pitch level, no matter what the thought group is. And so one of the things we talk about is that when you're changing your thought groups, you want to change your pitch level, and each pitch level kind of has its own unique ceiling and also unique floor. And so we don't want to keep returning to pitches that find themselves in that same interval. Okay. So if you wanted to compare,
Hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death.
so what I'm hearing right now is like, hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your, versus like, hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death. Something like that. I'm obviously I changed some stresses there. The pitch was not the only thing I changed there, but it kind of gives you an idea what that would sound like as well with a wider pitch range. It's like, hey, starting higher. the bottom tree, then moving down more, is not responsible, and then moving down more for your death. Hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death. Okay. If you're trying to continue practicing pitch ranges, things like that, obviously you don't have to do this, but we have a couple of video courses that total probably like 3 hours or so of just exploring different pitch patterns in American English and how native speakers use them, including also like entertainers and things like that from the stage. So if you are a person that's interested in pitch, I would definitely go to fluentamerican.com. The video courses are pitch apprenticeship and pitch mastery, or I forget, pro pitch mastery. That's it, pro pitch mastery. And it's just about, hey, what are the pitch patterns native speakers commonly use, and can you copy them? And you get to hear examples from other students who are also learning pitch, so you get to hear what sounds right, what sounds different from what native speaker is doing. So that might be something that helps. You did ask specifically about placement here, so let's just look at placement one final time.
Hey, the bottom tree is not responsible for your death.
I do think placement is a bit of a factor. Like when you're saying bottom, I'm hearing like bottom, the bottom versus the bottom, the bottom. Is not responsible, is not responsible. What I'm doing is I'm just shifting the placement lower. Okay. For your death, for your death. And again, it's just shifting placement lower. So yes, I mean I think placement is a bit of a factor, but as we expand the pitch range, we might find that that placement problem also may go away on its own as well. All right, but thank you so much for sending that audio file. Hope you found that feedback helpful. Let's take a listen to our second and final file.
Hello, Geoff. Thanks for covering my video. I have a question. On that phrase, I know that the word must sounds like cup, so like we gotta put an emphasis in there, right? But I know if we put that in a sentence, like we're gonna have the whole phrase. You must not import, but you gotta emphasize import. Like, how do we make sure we keep you must low, and then we just go up for import?
Okay, so this is a question. Let's put more of an audio question here. In relation to stress patterns, how do we navigate pitch with stress and things like that? Maybe even to a degree placement. So a couple things that are happening here. So one, the example phrase he gave us is this: you must not import. Must not import. Okay, and there's a couple different ways you could handle this. There's not necessarily a word that you more or less have to stress. A lot of it's context dependent. Like if I'm stressed, I'll say it different ways just to kind of demonstrate what it sounds like if you stress different words. Okay, and all of them can work in different situations, right? So if I stressed you, it would sound like you must not import. Da, 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 da. You must not import. If I want to stress must, it's going to sound something like you must not import. You must not import. Da, 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 da. Okay. And if the stress is on not, like you must not import. You must not import. Da, 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 da. And then if the stress is on import, it will sound like this. You must not import. You must not import. Da, 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 da. Something like that. You must not import. So those are the examples of different stress patterns there. I'm going to play back the audio just to make sure I'm getting all the intricacies of that question in.
Hello, Geoff. Thanks for covering my video. I have a question. On that phrase, I know that the word must sounds like cup, so like we gotta put an emphasis in there, right? But I know if we put that in a sentence, like we're gonna have the whole phrase. You must not import, but you gotta emphasize import. Like, how do we make sure we keep you must low, and then we just go up for import?
Okay. One other thing I'm going to note just from your example there when you were saying it is you're going to have a lot of separation between your words, which is going to make things sound also stressed. Like you must not import. Like if I say like that, you must not. If I do it something like that, you must not. So the more separation you have between words, the easier it is for them to also sound stressed. So another way that you can make sure that the word you intend to stress comes off as stressed is to go weaker on the words you're not stressing. So in this case, for instance, like the you must not, if I'm stressing import, then I need to link and maybe go weaker, faster, and lighter on everything else. So instead of saying something like you must not import, so instead of doing that, I might do something more like you must not, you must not. So linking things more, pausing less, giving less space between the words, and moving faster until the stress. Those are all different techniques I can do to make sure that my stressed word is coming off as my stressed word without a rhythm that gives stress to other things. Okay. So I do hope that that is helpful. All right. Thanks to everyone who sent us some audio files and questions and things like that for today. It's greatly appreciated. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Schwa Mill. Again, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, right around 7 a.m. New York. If you have some audio that you would like a chance to get some feedback on, to try and check your own English, you can check out the Telegram group that's free in the video description and send us some audio files there. It would be great to meet you and see you there. With that, I hope you guys all have a good weekend, have a good day, have a good night, and thank you so much for hanging out with us. There's a lot of pronunciation resources out there. I'm very much aware of that. So the fact that you are here spending some time with me is appreciated. I will see you guys later. All right. Take care.